Good morning, students. Am I audible to all? Yes. Am I audible? Please respond. Okay. Yes. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to you all in the first session of your bridge course, and that is communication for managers. Yes. So as we begin with this presentation, I would be beginning my presentation with the quote here that is communication is the power and those who have mastered its effective use can change their own experience of the world and the world's experience of them. So, my dear students, first we would like to understand what is communication and what is the communication for managers. And if I talk about the managerial concept of communication, managerial skills and communication skills, they go hand in hand. But that comes later. So this is the bridge course. First, we need to understand what is the bridge course. So we are trying to bridge something. We are coming all the way from our school experiences and shifting our experiences to the college one. So how we would be bridging so many things you are going to learn through this series, the web series, the webinar that is for the bridge course. And today's session is for communication. So let us try to understand first what is communication, what is the role, importance, and significance of communication in our life. Then we would be shifting to the business communication, the importance of this particular subject. So as I mentioned that it is the power, actually it is the power, and those who master this power they can definitely share their experiences to the world, and also they can enjoy the world's experiences to themselves. How we can say this? If you people read newspaper, watch some teleseries or the web series, you might be knowing that it is 5%. Throughout your experience or experience of your school time, you might be aware that it is 5%. Your technical knowledge, your subject knowledge has been given 5% importance. If I talk about your professional experience, professional knowledge, that is only 15% of importance. Then what about the rest 80%? So the rest 80% is all about your communication skill. So it is very, very important, very significant for our personal as well as professional life, for throughout the life, for making our career, sailing through our career, and reaching to the new destinations in life. Now let's see some brief history of communication I have mentioned for you people. Now this brief history is the history of human civilization is linked to our ability to communicate. So let us try to understand how we are linked to the history of communication. Is communication, my question to the all students, and they may answer. See, this session is going to be very interactive for you all, because we will not be dependent only and only on the slides which are here. We would be trying to make the session interactive by sharing our own experiences. So the students can answer me, they may message me through the chat. I'm looking at the chat box and reading your messages there. So my question to all the students is that, is communication a new term for the 21st century age, this particular era, or it is linked to the primitive ancient times? What is your experience? Students, please answer. Is communication a very new term for us in this 21st century, or we have been associated, linked, connected with this term from the time that is a primitive, that has been the primitive time? Some students are asking, Abhijit is asking that do we have to note everything? No, no, you are not supposed to. If you feel like noting something, you may note it down. Otherwise, the whole presentation would be shared with you all students. So don't worry about that. Yes, some students are answering me primitive. They are writing in the chat box that we are not, it is not the new term for us. Communication, we are associated with this term from the ancient time, from the primitive ages, this term is there. When people had no idea about language, language is the tool of communication. And here only I am going to explain you the difference between language and communication. Most of us understand and think that it is language equals to communication. Language is communication or communication is language. But you have to understand that communication is a broader term and language comes under that. So how can we understand language? Language is a tool through which we communicate with people. Everyone is clear? Language is a tool through which we communicate with people. So we have to know the difference between language and communication. We are not going to have any kind of, confusion, misconception in our mind that language is communication or communication is language. So when people had no language, no idea about language, that time also in the very early, time of civilization, they used to communicate. And later on, with the advent, you can say the advancement of technology, you can say that how civilizations progressed. So through this progress, through the advancement of technology, we have come to this stage where we are not physically meeting with each other, but still we are communicating. Still so many students, they are able to connect with me. How? Only and only with the advancement of technology. So I would be moving further with this slide, how we may see that as all the students are clear that communication is not a new term. We are associated with this term from the very primitive time. This in turn has been accelerated by rapid developments in the ways by which humankind has recorded, stored, distributed, and used their messages and meanings. Absolutely correct. We have already discussed, just now we have discussed here, that see, uh, some students are messaging me that they are not able to hear. I'll stop here for a minute. Answer me others. Please write in the chat box if you can hear me, because otherwise this will be a vain exercise, completely useless. So first I need to be audible to all the students. Others are able to listen to me. Are my other students connected with me? Yes, okay. Yes, Sirat is writing, Himanshi, fine, fine, thank you. So yes, continue with the session. So we were discussing about the role of communication, and we were discussing about the connection of communication with the primitive ages. So definitely it has always been a very, very primitive and ancient term for us. When people had no idea about language, they used to communicate. And why we have always been communicating? Why? Because of we want to record something, document something, we want to store something, we want to distribute the same knowledge, the knowledge which we have gained throughout the ages. We want to distribute, circulate that knowledge among the next generations, the new generations, the upcoming generations. So if you are connecting with me, why you are connecting with me? Not only because of one matter, one point that I am a teacher or I have been allotted as the speaker for this session, but you are connecting with me so that you can be benefited by the experience which I have with me. So how I may be able to deliver that information to you all? In the next few slides, we will discuss about the difference between data, information, and communication. So here I'll not be taking this point, but why you are connecting with me? So that you can be benefited out of my experience. And how you may be benefited out of my experience? How you may be benefited? If I can communicate through you. So what becomes very important? My knowledge, my experience, my voice through which I am communicating, the knowledge of language, that is a tool of communication. And at the same time, this technology, yes, friends, this is helping us out in a great manner. We never thought of, meeting online, through these webinars, these web series. Yes, definitely they are helping us out and making us, more competent communicators. Why more competent communicators? I cannot meet with people, I'm not meeting with them physically, but still I'm talking with them, I'm communicating to them, I'm able to deliver what I have in my mind, and I can complete my job and the responsibilities. So it is that. Now we are moving further. I would be reading the last line for you all. That presented here is a glimpse of some of the defining milestones in the evolution of communication. Yes, definitely. From the previous time, from the primitive ages, communication has evolved. This term has evolved itself. Everything is evolving. We all are evolving throughout. So what we are we the same what we were in the fifth standard or when we were in the sixth standard? We are not the same. So we are not same because we have evolved. How we have evolved? Because throughout our last 10, 12 years of experiences, we got to know about, I mean, we came across teachers. We also came across, the peer, our peer group, our students, the friends, and the social, political, and economic changes which are taking place daily basis. So this is, my dear friends, students, this is the time, this is the age of uncertainties, and in this time of uncertainty, we are learning every day, every moment there is something new happening, and that new happening is giving us the new opportunities of learning. So we have evolved. In the same way, communication has also evolved itself. Let me share my experience with you. When I was in school, as you all are coming from school, I'm telling you my experience of my school. I was not exposed to a term communication. Even when I was in college, I was not exposed, sorry, with the term communication. And later on it became so important that, we will now, the students are being given training of communication. They have, separate courses for communication. They are having some diploma and the certification program for that. So how, what actually happened in the last 7 to 8 years, or the time of, we can say, 1 decade, 10 years, that students have, this term has jumped up into our life, and it has become very, very important for us. So something happened means, because of the evolving ages, we have also evolved, and we have somehow got to understand that this is communication which can make us survive in this world. This is communication through which I can complete my responsibilities, my job responsibilities. And this is communication skill only through which I would be a good manager. I would be taking about I would be talking about managerial skills and what is manager and the communication for managers in the next few slides. Now let us see what is communication. So we have only been discussing, you might be thinking, see, since last 15 minutes, ma'am is discussing only about one term, communication. See, yes, absolutely. So I cannot jump on the next term, that is communication for managers, till my students are clear about the term, what is actually communication, how it is different from manager. Sorry, you can say how it is different from language. So we have discussed. Let us see the definition, the theoretical definition of communication. It is defined as the process of conveying intended meanings from one entity or group to another through the use of mutually understood signs and rules. Yes, you all understand, you all know that communication is a way, it's a process through which we express our ideas, we share our perspectives, we project our viewpoints. Absolutely true. So why and how these all things are possible for us? Through communication only. But if this, I mean, this, how it is possible? Through the transmission of signs, rules, and symbols. So that completes the definition of communication. Once you will be joining, I mean, you will be provided with the classes for your communication and the other subjects. You will learn there that, what is actually communication, how the signs and symbols play a very important role, what does it mean by the patterns in communication. So we will discuss all these things in classes, but for right now, for just now, understand the definition that communication is the process of conveying your intended meaning. You intend something, you want to project something, you want to say something, you want to share some experiences and information. And how it is done? It is done through the transmission of signs and symbols. These means of communication are usually spoken or written words, pictures, or symbols, but we also give information through body language, gestures, and looks. Facial expressions can show how we feel and what we think about an issue or another person. Again, some students, I can say Devansh, Vrinda, Himanshi, they are asking me that it's showing start the broadcast. Okay, what should I do, ma'am? Should I? Other students are able to see the slides and listen to me in between the session. Keep on messaging so that are we connected, students? It's all right. Fine. Thank you, Ria. Thank you, Abhay. Thank you, Anurag, Mansi. Fine. Thank you all. So we were discussing about the definition part of communication, that it is a process of sharing your experiences, information, data, your intended meanings to the other entities or group, or one person or the group, more than one person, through the transmission of signs and symbols. Now, how, what are other ways of communication? We know I'm speaking, you are listening to me, that is communication. You are writing in the chat box, I am reading that, that is also written. Through written communication, I'm getting some information about you. You are, listening to me, I'm audible. There is no technical issue in this session. So this is this way the communication is going on. But see, dear students, understand that there are some other ways and means of communication. Now, what are these other ways? They are your gestures, your looks. This time, you may see me. This is a webinar. You may see my facial expressions, how I am speaking, how I am, making my presentation. And in the next classes, when you will be the part of the classroom teaching, the online classroom teaching, when you will be enabling your videos along with your audios, you would also be, assist for your facial expressions, how you are speaking, what is the tone, what is the pace of your voice, what is the pitch and the frequency, are you stressing the proper words, the appropriate words which should be stressed out, are you not unstressing? So these are certain things we would be discussing. So you here please understand, it is not only written and the oral communication, but apart from that we have so many other things, that is the body language, the entire my behavior which is projected through body language, gestures, facial expressions, eye contact, and many more things. So let us see. For this, I have one more slide. We would be discussing about non-verbal communication and meta communication. Yes, there are three levels at which communication takes place. So when we, in the last slide, we discussed about the meaning and definition of communication. And in the next slide, we would be taking up what is the process of communication. Let me brief you all. The process of communication includes some elements. That is the sender, the receiver, the message, the channel, medium, and some barriers also. So these are certain, 5, 6 elements are there of the process of communication. I am a sender right now. I'm sending you the messages, encoded messages. You being a recipient, you are decoding the message and understand what I am communicating to you. Then the message. What is the message? Today we are discussing role of communication for managers. So that is the entire, the entire content is your message. And the medium, through what medium we have been communicating? Webinar. So I hope you all are understanding these elements of the process of communication. Because see, in theory, you will have to understand everything. And theory plays a very significant role for making us impromptu communicators, effective communicators. So we have understood the process of communication involves certain elements, and these elements are the sender, receiver, medium, message, and the barriers. So what are the barriers? I'll be talking about barriers at the end of this slide presentation. Let us first see here some levels in the process of communication. We have discussed about the elements which are involved in the process of communication. They are sender, receiver, the message, your medium, and the barrier. But there are levels also. What do you think? Okay, in a very layman's language, let us try to understand. What do you think that, once you listen to me and you will be a very good communicator? Okay, or you read a good article written by somebody who is a good communicator, who is a very good writer, famous novelist or the poet, you are going to be very, very, effective communicator. Or you listen to somebody who is an eloquent speaker, eloquent orator, you would be effective communicator. What is the idea? It is not so, my dear students. It is not so. It doesn't happen like this. That you read something significant, you become communicator, good communicator. You listen to somebody, you come across with somebody's experience. No, these are the factors which really help you to become impromptu and absolutely effective communicator. But they are not the base, they are not the complete thing. You listen to me, you read something, and you become effective communicator. It's not so. Why it doesn't happen so? Because there are various levels. Okay, let us talk about learning process. Now, when I say that by reading somebody, by listening to somebody, by coming across somebody's experiences, you will not be able to effective communicator in the time of 1 hour or 2 hours. Then what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say there is importance of practice, there is importance of learning, and this importance of learning, how we may learning becomes very important. And how we may learn about communication, we have to understand there are various different levels where communication takes place, okay, or communication occur. So what are these levels where communication occur? Physical level, level of intelligence, and emotional level. My students, understand there is a misconception. You are undergrad students, but yes, absolutely, when I'm dealing with the students who are, MBA students and the other also, there is misconception among people that by seeing something or reading something, at a glance reading gives us the whole idea. It is not so. You might have come across, or you might have experienced in your life, that when you were reading, you were preparing for some examination. You read something, you understood, half of it, and half part of the same document was not understood by you. So you have such kind of the experiences because you also have studied so much. You all are the readers, avid readers, and some of you are voracious readers also. So what happened when you were reading something, preparing for the examination, some half portion was understood very well by you, and half portion was not understood. So what did you do? You gave another reading. You read the same document twice, thrice, and more than that. And then and only you could understand, yes, what is it? Yes, this particular theorist wants to say this to me. And this I have understood. I'm going to implement this theory in such and such manner. So I hope you're clear. So in the same way, when you see something, when there is a visual, sometimes visuals are also, in a very designed in a perplex way, that we always say that these are the actions, speak louder than words. So words have their own importance, but the actions are more important than words. Why they are more important than words? Because they speak louder. We can interpret them very easily. They are, we can comprehend them very easily. But sometimes the visuals are also of perplex type. They are also confusion. We can understand some visual, we cannot understand. We have our own interpretation about that visual. So what I'm trying to say, whether you read something, whether you have the visualization, visual effect of something, you cannot understand things at first time, because that is only the physical appearance of something, physical object appearance of something. Okay, you listen to me, you read something, you see some visual, yes, you notice that. So that is there the communication occurs only at the first level, and the first level is known as the physical level. You see somebody and you frame some ideas in your mind, you frame something in your mind that yes, this person is like that, this person is like that, this person is, he or she looks shrewd, he or she looks very positive, I am getting positive vibrations. So why do you say? By seeing the physical appearance of that person. And the same thing happens when you read something, some text, or you have the visual impressions, some visual impressions in your life. So that gives you only the the idea what is the person or the object all about. The second level is of level of intelligence. When you see something at the physical level, you get to know, yes, this is something about ABC or XYZ. And in the next level, this particular, I mean, you have communication in your mind. Your brain starts communicating. So how your brain starts communicating? By seeing something, the physical object. uh, and the brain says, yes, I have understood. So at the level, your IQ level, there are three different levels. One is IQ, second is your EQ, one is SQ also. So IQ is level of intelligence level. Second, EQ is emotional quotient. There are, sorry, I'm talking about three different quotients. IQ is intelligence quotient, EQ is emotional quotient, and SQ is spiritual quotient. So all these three quotients become important. This time we will not discuss about that. But here you need to understand, try to please understand that the second level of communication process involves your intelligence. Okay, so what is your IQ level? And as per your IQ level, you try to understand that particular about that text or the visual impression or the person. And the last level involves, yes, last level is the level without which you can never understand communication. So it is the level of acceptance, which is known as, we denote this level as the emotional level. So at physical level, what we were doing, we were trying to understand what is the thing and the person all about. We have understood things well because our IQ was involved into that. And the last level is your emotional level where you accept things. So it is known as the level of acceptance. You give your acceptance. You are listening to me right now. But see, what makes you, what convinces you to accept my communication? That see, role of communication is very important for managers. Whatever I am speaking, and the next few speakers would be sharing with you, how you would be giving your consent about that, only and only if you accept. So the acceptance level is the last level where the communication completes. So I think my students have understood all these three levels of the process of communication. That is the physical level, level of intelligence, and the last is emotional level. So now are you understanding why are you not able to understand a text at one reading, and why you are not able to imbibe the whole information about the person by seeing the person, appearance at first only? So it happens because you have not understood, you have not analyzed the situation, you have not calculated the situation. And once you have, as you have not analyzed the situation, you will not be able to understand. And without understanding the entire concept, you will, I'm sorry, you will not be able to accept that. So first you see, get notified, second you understand, and last you accept. And with these three levels your communication process completes, and then you can say, yes, I have completed this process and I have understood this entirely. I hope everyone is clear here. If you have any doubt, any question at the end of the session, we will deal with all your doubts and questions. Let's see some more ways, as I had discussed with you. So this slide also talks about the same, that there are spoken words, written words, visual images, body language through which we communicate. So let's see, I'll not stop here for the more time. I'll come back to this slide. First, let us understand the next few slides. Okay. As I have given you the idea that LSRW, let us discuss here LSRW. So LSRW, L is for listening, S is for speaking, W is for writing, R is for reading. So most of us, most business interactions, you can understand, I'm reading a few lines for you. Most business interactions are either written or spoken. As a result, the two most important skills that a manager needs to be effective on the job are listening and reading. So before this, let us here discuss about the managerial communication, because I started this presentation with the meaning, definition of communication, how it is important, because absolutely 80% weightage has been given to it. All my technical knowledge, all my subject knowledge is going to help me out, and my professional knowledge is going to help me out, for 20%. but the rest 80% depends completely on my communication skill. So skill, first you understand what is the skill. Skill is the ability to demonstrate something. So if you are able to demonstrate something, that becomes your skill. So demonstrating, if you are a good speaker, that can be, yes, definitely demonstrated. If you are a good worker, active participant, that is also demonstrated. So everything is demonstrated, and whatever you can demonstrate in the effective manner, that becomes your skill. So we are talking about communication. So the layman understanding, the basic knowledge about communication, how it is coming from the primitive time, what is the difference between language and communication, we have discussed. And now we can discuss here with the slide the difference between communication and managerial communication. Anyone has any idea? You may write in the chat box. What is the difference between communication and managerial communication? Or you may understand what is the difference between communication and business communication. I'll take a pause. If you have some idea, all understand what is communication. Communication is expressing your ideas, expressions, perspectives, viewpoints, exactly what you want to intend to express. That is expressed through the transmission of signs and symbols. But when I talk about what is managerial communication, what is business communication, because all you have enrolled for this course, where you will be learning about business administration and how will you administer anything. So for the administration, you will have to master communication skill. Yes. Somebody is writing, Aditya is writing, okay, Ansh, Harsh has also written something, that manager communication is a formal communication, very good. Business communication is more interactive, very good. Okay, most of you are writing, Muskan is writing in business communication. Yes, we have to communicate good manner under, okay, I'm reading your answers here. Somebody is writing about the formal importance of formal informal communication. Yes, most of you are writing the same. It comes under managerial communication. Someone is writing about the structured communication, that it is more structured. Okay, fine. But some students are saying that we have joined late, so we are not able to respond. But if they are responding that we have joined late, that is also a response for me, and I'm very happy for that. Fine. Anyways, you would be provided, don't worry beta, you will be provided the presentation and you can learn about this, and any more the query we would discuss later. So this time we are talking about difference between communication and business communication. So there are certain features of business communication. Even communication, see what we do with the here I'll be taking a few minutes for making you understand this difference. From morning till evening till night, we all are busy with our communication. Whether sometimes we communicate with our parents, it is not see that we are communicating in the organizational structure. We communicate with our siblings, we communicate with our parents, we also communicate with the vendors, vegetable vendor, milkman, okay, the salesperson. So every time we communicate, we cannot expect, even we cannot imagine our life without communication. So it is the term communication which opens the new horizons for us, which gives us more ideas, right? And this time also you are learning something about business communication through communication only. So it is very, very important. But see, business communication or the managerial communication, how it is little different from your communication. It is more structured. I'm giving you a few points, a few tips, you can understand it well. It is more structured, it is more formal, it is more meaning based and complete. And when we have 7 C's of communication, let's go back to the slide of 7 C's of communication where we can understand it in better manner. Yes. So the business communication or the communication for managers is more formal, more structured, more predetermined. Predetermined. Why predetermined? I cannot go and have communication with my boss in the company without keeping the ideas in my mind, without jotting down the points, without keeping the agenda in my mind. Okay. Yes. So that should be very, very clear. What is the agenda of the meeting? What I am going to say to my boss? Have I jotted down all the points? Okay. Have I completed the given task to me? And have I actually, completed the task? Was there any kind of delay in the task? So everything should be crystal clear to me. It is predetermined. It is structured communication. It is meaning based communication, because you cannot talk senseless. You have to talk there in your company with your colleagues or with your boss, something which is sensible. You cannot talk senseless, so that is very important. And the next is 7 C's of communication. Business communication is communication which involves all these 7 C's. First, please understand what are these 7 C's. 7 C's are, because you can see all these 7 terms. I have written here 7 words, and these 7 words begin with letter C. So as these all 7, they are 7 in number and they begin with letter C, they are known as 7 C's of communication. Your communication needs to be clear, okay? Then the clarity, I always say to my students that the clarity begins from the idea clarity. Your writing or your oral presentation can never be clear until unless you have clear idea in your mind. So when I was preparing my communication presentation, which I am discussing right now with you all, I had first the idea clarity. What different terms I am going to discuss with my students, how I should begin with my presentation, how it should develop, and how I would be engaging my students for 2 hours. Everybody is clear? So that idea clarity was there, and on the basis of that idea clarity, I could complete and I could make my presentation. I could give it the final touch to my presentation, and then now I'm delivering it to you all. Then concise, concrete. Concise first. Concise means precise, short. So economy is a term which is understood by all the students, I think. But if I talk about economy in the context of communication, please understand it right now. So economy in the context of communication is that you should have economy of economy of the words. You should use words economically. That is, I can also explain it by using a term less is more. So less is more. So more and more, you are communicating, more words you are using, you are making the situation, baffling for you as well as for the listener. So you should be very simple, clear, lucid. Your style, in the next few slides, I'll be talking about the difference between style and substance. So your style needs to be very lucid. So the lucid means simple. The simple style is always adored by people when they listen to you, because they can easily connect with you, they can easily understand you. In spite of that, if you are using obsolete words, some cliches, the circumlocutory expressions, the redundancy is there in your sentences, communication, this is not liked by people and they don't understand anything out of it. Concrete, it means you should be logical. You must sound logical. What you are saying, everything is scientific, please understand. Our religion is also scientific, spirituality is also scientific. It is not only that science is scientific. So this language, when I talk about English language or the entire concept of communication, that is also scientific. You need to sound rationally. Correct, absolutely. Grammatically, you need to be correct. Your structures must be correct. The content which you are sharing with with your audience, that also needs to be correct. Then I have coherent. Yes, absolutely. We have, it is sorry, concrete. Sorry, there was a mistake. Concrete means which is not abstract, and coherent means rational. Coherent is a term which means rational. You should sound rational. You should be logical, while communicating with someone. And concrete means something which is not abstract. Concrete means the solid idea. You cannot revolve around a story, and at the end of the story, the next person, your recipient, asks you what you were saying, exactly what you wanted to say. So what you actually want, you are telling stories to people, or you are allowing them to make a story about yourself. You have to decide. We all have to decide while communicating that I am narrating something to the other person, or giving them an opportunity to make a narrative about me only. So that control is in my hand. Am I understanding? Do I really understand that control? Fine. So that is the concrete means, which is not abstract. Then you have coherent. I have given you the idea. Coherent means rational, complete. It should be complete communication. You cannot leave it in between. Any idea, any expression, any word pronunciation, that needs to be complete from your side. And courteous, absolutely. Passing a smile, sweet smile in between. Talking in a very, very normal manner. So showing your courtesies, giving thanks to the other person, greeting at first to them. So these are certain things, which are included in the term courtesy. I hope everyone is clear about 7 C's of communication. Somebody is raising hand here, but first I wanted to complete this. This is the reason in between I did not. Okay. Who is raising hand? Yes. Okay. Sejal is there. Sejal Anand is there. Yes, Sejal. You want to say something? Any question from your side? You may drop the question in the chat box, and at the end we will take it up. Yes. Okay. I'll take it up at the end of the session. Fine. So let us first complete the presentation here. And if you have any more questions, then you can drop in the chat box. So we were talking about the 4 LSRW. I think everybody is clear about the difference between communication and managerial communication, and what different things are important. What are the key features of the managerial communication we have understood here. Now we are moving forward with the essential communication skills. And I mentioned you all about the LSRW, that is listening, writing, speaking, and reading. So writing and spoken, written and spoken English, and written and spoken language and communication is known to most of us, because most of the time we write, either we write or we speak. But when I come to these, the last two, that is the L and R. L stands for listening and R stands for reading. So what are these? Listening is, our ability to grasp and interpret total meaning in oral or spoken transactions is a function of how well we listen. Effective listening results in clearer understanding, robust retention, and accurate recall. A much neglected skill. Yes, absolutely. There are ways for you to become a better listener and therefore a more effective manager. So you would be surprised to know that it is not only your communication is not, you are not only a good communicator if you are a good speaker. If you are a good listener, you are a good manager. So I think you are understanding. If you are a good speaker, you are absolutely a good communicator. There is no doubt in that. But if you are a good listener, you are a good communicator as well as a good manager. So keep that point in mind. Because until unless you listen to people, you will not be clear about their ideas. You will not be clear about the problem which is arising in the organization. You will also not be clear about the latest, the latest challenges, latest research done in the field, or latest kind of the opportunities. So for knowing everything, getting the information, indulging yourself into certain activities, and then coming up with something which is concrete, you have to listen to others. So listening is one thing. Listening is a skill. Actually, listening is a skill. We will be learning that in the classroom, that how listening is going to change the whole personality, and how it is going to make you a good communicator as well as a good manager. The next is reading. It becomes a key skill for managers, and not only for managers. So what is manager? I have already explained you the difference between communication and the managerial communication. That I told you that from morning till night we all communicate communicate with one person or more than one person, and in one situation and more than one situations. So what happens in such kind of the situations? You manage. What is the meaning of the term manager? For understanding managerial communication, you have to understand the meaning of the term manager. A manager who manages. In layman's language, we may understand a manager who manage the things. So do you only manage in your organization? No, not at all. You not only, you just not only manage in the organization, but also you manage at your personal front, in your personal life, in your day-to-day situations, while talking with your parents, convincing them about, buying you a new mobile, talking to your friends and convincing them to come for the party tomorrow, the next day, whatever. So, what are all these things? All these things say that you manage every time in your life, every incident, every situation, management is required. And as you manage, you are a manager. Everybody is a manager. I am a teacher, but still I am a manager. But in the organizational context, next few years you will be devoting yourself to learn more about being a manager, handling the administration in the entire organization, and that would be done through all the practices with the help of the teachers and the content which is there in your syllabus. So we were discussing about reading skill. It is absolutely a key skill for managers, as much of the input they receive on a day-to-day basis is written, be it email, letters, reports, web content, and such like. An effective reader can save time, improve retention, and enhance recall. So, who is an effective reader? Who can save time, okay, improve retention, and enhance recall. So you should know, I'm reading, I am keeping the things in my mind, I'm improving my retention. Now you are reading a lot and lot, a daily basis you might be reading newspaper, might be reading something on the Google, but do you retain? No, we are very poor retainers. Actually, human beings are known as the poor, very imperfect, you can say, communicators. Imperfect communicators and poor retainers. But more and more we read, more and more we retain, gradually we learn the art of retention. So retention is also art, how we may retain. There are certain tips and techniques that would be taken up in the classes, your classes. I hope you all are clear about LSRW, which are known as the four major skills of communication: listening, reading, speaking, and writing. Now I'm moving forward with this. Yes, this slide is also very important. Effectiveness of communication. In the last slide, you saw that we talked about the essential skills of communication and we discussed about LSRW. In this particular slide, we are moving little forward. We are moving forward from the essential skills to the effectiveness of communication. How we may be effective communicators. So, as you know, I have, there are certain underlined words. So I would be just taking up these underlined words and we will try to understand what does it mean, good or bad, effective or not. For a purpose, we use the term effective rather than good or bad and subjective interpretation. So now, why out of these underlined words, we would be trying to understand actually what the slide is all about, how people are, what we are actually trying to understand here. So when I say purpose, every communication has its own purpose. You please understand all communication are purposeful. Without purpose, we do not talk to the people. Do we do or not? Sometimes we do. I'm sorry, yes. Sometimes we do communicate without a purpose, without a motive. But even there is also a purpose behind that. If I watch a movie, that communication is not, that is something recreational activity of mine. If I, read something fictional story, that is also recreational activity. If I do gossiping with my friends, that is also recreational activity. So what is the purpose behind these recreational activities where you devote a lot of time? You also, everyone devotes more and more time these days on social media, WhatsApp chat, Instagram, so many other things. So what is the motive? There is no motive. You're sending some emojis to your friends. They also like it. They also send it back to you. You share some videos, some audios, some of the images of yours and of the, any other things in your life which are associated with your life. So what's the purpose? Sometimes we do communication without any purpose. There is aimless communication. There is, without purpose communication which we have in our life. But as I said, as I mentioned, there is a purpose behind that. And what is the purpose? If you do not have these time wasters, these are known as time wasters. And if you do not have these time wasters, these recreational activities, actually you will not be able to keep yourself healthy for the longer time. So when I talk about the physical health, mental health, which has become, naturally in this COVID time, it has become a very, very important term. And the newspaper articles, so many newspaper articles are there if you people are reading. At the end of my presentation, I have tried to give you some, some links which may help you out to learn more about communication. So what we were discussing, that when you have communication without purpose, there is a purpose. So that the what is the purpose? You can be physically, mentally healthy. You can regain the energy and utilize the same energy for next few productive works. When you are not doing anything productive, you are wasting your time. You are doing for the recreational purpose. There is a major purpose behind it, and the purpose is you are regaining your energy and utilizing that energy for some more productive work in your life. I hope everybody is clear. So that is for the purpose. Then let us discuss about the terms good or bad and effective or not. My dear students, communication is never good or bad. It is not correct and correct. Yes, it sometimes it is correct and correct, but it cannot be good or bad. If in a layman's language, in Hindi or in some regional language, I'm able to make you understand what I'm trying to, say you, explain you, definitely that is successful communication. There was no breakdown. Everybody is getting my point or not? Okay, are you with me, students? Listening me and uh, are you with me in this journey of 2 hours? Manager communication for managers. Just again drop some message in the chat box so that I can relate with you and I can understand and I can identify that you people are not sleeping. Okay, everybody is awakened. Everybody is awakened. Very nice. Everybody is awakened and you are dropping the messages. Thank you for that. We were discussing about good or bad and effective and ineffective. So when I say, the moment I say communication is not good or bad, then how it should be or how what it is? The answer is effective or not. I took some example. I may take up an example of the vegetable vendor or the milkman. The person who comes to your house daily basis, gives you milk or the vegetables, or this is the online time, online shopping is going on. So many these the people come to your house, the of boys, for dropping you the any kind of the product which you ordered through the e sites. Okay, all these e business sites, Flipkart, Amazon, and something else. So what happens when these people come? They are not very good communicators. When your milkman comes to your house, he's not a very good communicator. He gives you milk. He gives you a card on which you may note down what was the quantity of the milk you purchased today, and then he communicates, tomorrow is the time. Please pay me my money. So that is sufficient. That for that milkman, that kind of the communication is sufficient, because he could deliver you milk. He could ask about his fee, about his payment, and then other kind of the important communication was done by that person. So that is from if you ask me, that is absolutely perfectly all right, because that has been a successful example of successful communication. So it cannot be good or bad. It is always effective in the context of your managerial communication, business communication, organizational setup. It is always effective or ineffective. Are you effective communicator or not? So the people who are surviving more, the people who are being paid with the good packages, the people who are getting promotions in their organizations, they are actually good communicators. They work, they do know the difference, and they sell themselves. They have the medium, balanced approach in their life of doing hard work as well as the smart work, working on the project, completing that project, and then coming up with the whole presentation of that project. So if you have the whole idea in your mind, I mean, see, I'm working, I'm completing certain task in the organization, and that same task has been presented by me well, then only I can expect some promotion, some appraisal, some increment, some bonus in the organization. I hope I'm clear that in the organizational context, it is your communication is only either effective or ineffective. It cannot be good or bad. Then let us move to the last paragraph of this particular slide, which speaks again about, there is a term subjective interpretation. Because as we discuss, good or bad and effective or ineffective, when you say something is good or bad, yes, that's nice, that's not nice. She is a good communicator, she's not a good communicator. He is something. That is my subjective interpretation. So when we were talking about the key features of managerial communication for the manager, we discussed that it should be meaning based, it should be predetermined. This managerial communication needs to be structured. Okay, it should have all the 7 C's of communication. Please add one more point there, and that is it needs to give objective interpretation. The more objective you are, now you need to have the difference between subjective and objective term. Subjective, when you are personalizing something, when you get to personal, how this is good or bad. The moment I make a comment about anyone that he or she is a good or bad communicator, I am becoming subjective in my interpretation. And the same moment when I'm not saying good or bad, yes, he or she is effective, when I measure, when I assess the person as an effective communicator, and I allot some more new task in the organization to that fellow or to the employee, definitely I am becoming objective. So the more objective you are, the more good communicator you would be. That is the exact learning out of this particular slide in the paragraph. So that, more objective I am, more good effective communicator I would be in my life. So I need to, this is the reason people say this is your personal life, your professional life, do not blur the line in between. Keep it personal, keep it professional. Do not mix these two types of lives. Why do they say so? For the effectiveness of your, I mean, they groom you. How you would be groomed. This is one good idea. If you keep that in mind, if you take this idea along with you throughout these 3-4 years of your academic time, you would be definitely good communicators. You would be having good communication skill, and if you have good communication skill, definitely you will be effective communicators. So this is all about this slide. Now, before moving with the glossophobia and some other things, let us take up. Yes. Now, this is the time to talk about the other types of communication. In the first few slides, I explained you that it is not only oral and written communication. There are some other ways and means of communication. And what are these ways and means of communication? How we denote these ways and means of communication? So here, before going ahead, please, you all, just go through all these tips. We may take a pause and see what we have done till now. So, a brief recap. We started with a quote. Then you learned something about the history of communication. Then you learned about what is communication. You also discussed what is the process of communication. Then different levels of this process of communication. Some other ways and means of communication. Yes, 7 C's, which are very important, significant for the managerial communication. This activity would be taken up later on. And here we are with meta communication and non-verbal communication. So here I'll be taking a pause of just a minute, because I believe in taking a pause. And then after this pause of half minute, that is 30 seconds, we would begin again. Meantime, what we have just discussed, you please drop the summary brief of that in the chat box. I would be pleased to read that my students are with me. They are learning what I'm saying and explaining to them. So if you have learned something about LSRW, please write about LSRW. If you people have learned something about the other ways and means of communication, write about that. If you have learned about the definition and meaning part of communication, write that. If you have learned about the entire process and the levels of the process of communication, please write that. That's for your, I mean, this is an activity. For a very brief activity we people are taking up here, and the activity is all about giving me recap what you have learned. Please understand, the session is not over. The session is still continue. There are several different slides with me. We will discuss that. Discussion is continued by us, but do one thing. A small activity for all the students: drop me their messages in the chat box by writing brief what we have discussed till now, because I have explained you that communication is two-way process. So now the one way we have completed, I have explained you some slides, some concepts of communication. Whether my recipients have received that or not, how would I be knowing? Here we have the role of feedback. Here we have the role of feedback. So you all are my recipients. Are you receiving and have you received the communication, the information imparted by me in this session? How would I be clear if you drop me the brief of all what we have discussed? So do this activity. Uh, I give you some time, 1 minute, 2 minutes for the activity. Fine. हाँ मैं देख लूँगी इसको. Yes, I'll see this. Yes. Now here, I hope I give you a very brief time for the activity, but that is the only possible way to understand, to know the feedback of the students. Are they with the teacher, the speaker, and are they learning or not? Okay, yes, you have written good feedback. I'll name out the students here. I would say, just a minute. Rishi has written speaking, writing, body language, and visual images are the common ways. Then we have, yes, still students are contributing. Tanuj has also given communication is a primitive one. I'm taking brief of your brief presentation, brief of your brief feedback. Then we have Kunal who has written about the process of communication. Yes. Then we have your Harsh. We have discussed that what is communication, also discussed about primitive. Good. Krish has also written about the imparting or exchanging of information by speaking, writing, or using other some mediums. Tanuj has mentioned about communication is a primitive one. Then Kunal has written about the process of communication. Uh, Sahej, I'm not clear, confident about this pronunciation of this name. Sahej or Sahej has written about the communication is process of conveying intended meanings. Good. Rishi has written about speaking, writing, body language. Himanshi Jain has given about we have understood that communication is a transfer of information from one party to another. Okay. Then we have Simran who has written about the three levels of communication. Shreyansh, there is three levels of communication. Arushi has also mentioned about managerial communication. Then Chanchal is there. No business communication is a formal communication. No, no, I don't know what Chanchal has written. No business communication is a formal communication. I think there is some typographical error. She wanted to write business communication is a formal communication. Yes, you might be little, you might be having some question that business communication, is this only formal communication? No. I say this is formal, mixture of formal as well as combination of formal and informal communication. So sometimes you have formal communication, sometimes you have informal, and in the classes you will learn that it is informal communication which plays a bigger role in the organizations. So that is a separate topic, a separate discussion. Then we have Aditya. Communication is the process of conveying intended meanings. Vinayak has also contributed something. Arif, I'm taking the names. Mihir, Monisha, very good. Khushi, Kunal. Then we have Arushi, Rishi, Shruti, Dev. Then Arif, Iqbal, Shreyansh. This is Japneet. Okay. Then we have this, I think this is Chashika, the name, Abhijit, Ritik, Japandeep, okay, Anmol, Vrinda, and many more. Gitika, Arif, yes. I, have not named out all of you, but no worry. You all have communicated. You have those all have who have contributed in this activity. Thank you. And you have given your feedback in a very good manner to me. And I am happy that you have understood what we have discussed. So without wasting time, let us talk about meta communication, that is the non-verbal communication. So first, please understand what is verbal communication, what is non-verbal. The verbal communication is the communication which is done with the help of words, and non-verbal communication except using words. So very simple difference and very understandable definition I am giving you of verbal and non-verbal communication. So verbal is the communication with words and non-verbal is the communication without using words. So when I say verbal, in both oral and written communication I use words, so that is known as verbal communication. In non-verbal communication, I don't use any words. We don't use any words. So how does the communication take place? That communication takes place with your body language, your hand gestures, your facial expressions, your eye contact, the way you speak and pronounce the words, what is your vocal quality, okay? And then other than this, we have proxemics, chronemics, and haptics like terms. So we would be discussing in the next slide. Here we please understand, all of you understand what is meta communication. Meta communication has been defined as the total transfer of meaning, implying that it is more than the mere exchange of data or even information. So meta communication is, I mean, the overall holistic communication. Please understand, meta communication means overall communication, holistic communication, which not only involves the, you can say, the words, but this is done without using words, with the use of sign and symbol language. Communication is a holistic experience, one that goes way beyond the convents of text. We gather additional cues and information related to the words used in the messages that we receive and seek to interpret. The term which is used to refer to the additional elements that make up the message in its entirety is referred to as meta communication. Now, please understand that two communications here. One is meta communication equals to, you can understand, holistic communication or overall communication. So, what is your overall communication? What elements are involved in this overall communication? What effects does it produce at the end? So, that is involved in the definition of meta communication. And what does it mean by verbal and non-verbal communication? I have already explained you. Now let us see what is non-verbal communication, what are the types of non-verbal communication, how does it take place. We all very well know, I am not discussing verbal communication here, because all of us very well know what is verbal communication. Orally, what I am communicating right now, it is one of the types of verbal communication. As you are writing your messages in the chat box, that is verbal communication, because written communication is also the part of verbal communication. In both oral and written communication, you use words, and this is the reason it is known as verbal expression or verbal communication. But in non-verbal communication, we don't use any words. So what happens when we don't use any words? Some of you might be confused, might be perplexed right now that what ma'am is saying, can we communicate without using words? Is it really possible? And if it is possible, some of you might be knowing only about some of the ways and means of the communication which is done without using words. But there are several ways. And dear students, let me tell you about the importance of non-verbal communication. It is 93%, out of 100% importance of communication, only 7% has been allotted, has been given to verbal communication. And the rest 93% weightage has been given to your non-verbal communication. Is it surprising or not? I think this is very surprising element at this stage for you all. That since our nursery class and before that, prior to that playgroup time also, we have been learning only words and words and words. So these words are traveling around us. We are reading, we are listening, we are writing, and we are speaking. And what we do all the time, there is a huge usage of these words. So somehow, what understanding I have had in my mind, in my subconscious mind, even the conscious mind, that this is words, these all are the words which are very important for communication. But right now, what ma'am is saying to you, that not words, except words, except words, the ways you communicate, that is given the higher weightage, and the weightage is of 93%. So it is your non-verbal communication which becomes more important than your verbal communication. Now let us see. Ashish is writing. Okay, I'm audible to Ashish. Sahaj. Okay, she's asking about retention, level of communication. Fine. So retention, Sahaj, retention is about, are you able to memorize things? How many things you keep in your mind? So retention is about, let us take one example to understand about retention. That is, you studied so many things in your fifth standard and your sixth standard. It was maths, it was SST, it was science, it was so many subjects were there. But do you retain? Do you keep? Retain means, do you keep everything in your mind right now? No. So retention is keeping the information in mind. Retention is keeping the information, accumulated information. Actually, since our childhood, we have been accumulating information which is coming through our teachers, our textbooks, our peer groups, our environment, the culture, the value system, the family, neighbors. We accumulate so much of the information. And but the question is, so that is information, capped information. Retention, you can say the capped information. It is your but we cannot. I took this term, I used this term retention in the context of communication, and I said we are very poor retainers. We cannot retain. And the example is very simple. We don't retain in the mind what we studied in fifth standard. So we are very poor retainers. This is the I'm sorry. This is the reason documentation becomes very important. When you read a newspaper, a magazine, any textbook, or any other kind of you watch any web series, webinar, keep on noting down the things. Make your notes. That is the only way to improve your retention power. Somebody is asking about me, level of communication. Yes, level of communication, I explained you, beta, that it is your physical level of intelligence, and acceptance level, that is emotional level. I would be taking up your questions at the end. Let us first complete the presentation part here. We were talking about verbal and non-verbal communication. And when it comes to non-verbal communication, it is communication without using words. And what are the different ways? What are the different types of non-verbal communication? These are mentioned here. There is a term in your slide, kinesics, Kinesics. See the term very carefully, Kinesics. Kinesics means body language. All of you, please understand the very much technical terms of business communication, and they are known as the types of non-verbal communication. First, understand non-verbal communication is the communication without using any words. So what is that? Your gestures, your facial expressions, your vocal quality, your touch, and you can say the space which you keep in between the people. That is all these things. The colors, the kind of accessories what you are wearing, the dressing, your dressing sense, the color of your dress, the color and the structure and the sitting arrangement of your classroom or your drawing room in the house, the kitchen setup, everything communicate. This all comes under non-verbal communication. The first type of non-verbal communication is kinesics, Kinesics. And kinesics means body language. The entire body language, all your gestures, your postures, your standing posture, your sitting posture, the signs you use, this kind of the sign, this is the all the best. But again, there is cultural understanding which is also associated with the term kinesics. That one single sign, one single gesture. Namaste is very popular in India, which is not there in other countries. Now COVID-19, and after COVID-19 it has become very popular. We have been reading that through newspapers. So what is that? That is the cultural context. That is the cultural concept of the term kinesics. That the gestures and behavior which comes out through our body language is not taken up similarly in all the cultures. So that's another separate discussion. We would not be going into that. First, here understand the first type of non-verbal communication, that is kinesics, and meaning is body language. Then you have proximity. Here, somewhere at the top of the slide, you might be seeing proximity. That means proximity or proxemics. So the proxemics is the term that is known as space language. Now, space language, that means how much space people should keep in between while communicating. There are 4 different types of space, spaces we carry on, while communicating with people. These are the personal space, the intimate space, the social space, and the public space. So you cannot, talk to your teacher in the classroom, in college, the way you are talking to your mother in the house. So you might have proximity. I mean, the space which is there in between you and your mother, your father, your siblings is different, which you keep with your friends in the college and then your teachers in the college. So that is the proximity. Sorry, yes. So proximity is very important, but this time the proximity, entire concept of proxemics has changed because we are not meeting with each other. We are keeping social, we have the concept of social distancing. So we have distanced ourselves from other people. So there is no actually space language. Right now, if I see, since last 7, 8 months, and if we are going, some people who are still going to their offices and the workplaces, they are keeping, distance, the desired and the desired distance, which has been the mandatory distance, which has been, uh, expected from them by the government and the medical organizations, so due to COVID-19. So the entire scenario, entire concept of proximity has changed. Previously, it was something different that would be discussed in more detail in classrooms. So here, proximity, please understand space communication. Now, the chronemics is the time communication. So there was a time from 11 to 1 we were about to have session. So 11 sharp 11 we started. So do you start sharp 11? Okay, when someone has meeting with you, someone calls you for the meeting. So again, the cultural concept is related, associated with this. Indian time standard is different. German time standard is different. Britishers and Americans, they have their own time norms. I mean, norms which are very important for communication. Time itself communicate. Are you arriving on time? Are you meeting with people on the time which was assigned to you and assigned to them? So it is something, and how much time do you take to complete the task and the activity? That all comes under time language, which is known as chronemics. Then we have another term, paralanguage. It is very, very important. Now, paralanguage has become, proximity has, lost its importance in little manner, not, much manner, because very soon we are going to overcome of the situation and we would be meeting physically with people, and proxemics would be very important for us. But paralanguage, this time has become very important. You people are able to see me, my face only, so you cannot completely derive to the conclusion so far as concerned my disposition. Okay, and I'm not able to see you people. So the person's disposition, the gestures, and the body language cannot be measured this time in the online scenario, but definitely their voice can be measured. You people may take me as an impactful speaker, or take me as a speaker who is not at all impactful. So it is, how does it, and on what different parameters does it depend? It depends on your voice language, your voice vocal qualities. So paralanguage consists of, the meaning of paralanguage is vocal qualities, and the vocal quality of a person is dependent on the pace, volume, speed, intonation, frequency, pitch of the speech. Clear, everyone? So what is your volume? Volume while you are speaking. What is the pronunciation? How you are pronouncing the words? Are you completing the pronunciation of all the terms, all the words? Then and only it is going to clarify the whole meaning to the other person. So paralanguage consists of vocal quality, and what comes under vocal quality? Pronunciation, intonation, pace, volume, speed, pitch, and frequency of your speech. I hope I'm clear. And the last term which is not mentioned in the slide, that is haptics. Haptics means touch language. I always take up a very beautiful, sweet, example for this. When a young child is hugged, when a mother gives hug to the young child, her young child, and kisses the child, that shows the love and affection of the mother. The mother is no, I mean, there is no expectation from the mother, and she is no one who is going to prove that how much I love my child. But the child always, gets blessings and vibrations, good, positive, loving, affectionate vibrations from mother. And that touch, the way the mother touches the child, the way the mother hugs her own child, it proves that, how much she loves to the child. I hope clear with this example of haptics. So the touch language. Another example I can say, when you did something good in your school time, your teacher might come to you and patted at your back. So when you were, she said nothing. Okay, your teacher said nothing to you, but the simple pat at the back, it spoke so much about the, yes, well done, beta, you have done a great job. So that is the entire meaning. So again, I repeat for you all, there are 5 different types of nonverbal communication: kinesics, proxemics, chronemics, paralanguage, and haptics. And with this, I would be moving forward. Let us see, because now we have understood what is verbal communication and non-verbal communication. We may see some of the characteristics which make a communicator effective communicator. Now, as you all have understood two types of communication, verbal and non-verbal, so you should also know the features, the characteristic and the salient features which make a verbal communicator an effective communicator, and there are certain different features which make a non-verbal communicator an effective communicator. So first, let us take up the features which make a verbal communicator an effective communicator. So verbal communicator is effective communicator if he or she clarifies the whole idea. We have already discussed about that. Listens to other person. Okay, it's not that no, the speaker speaks all the time, but the person listens to others also. Encourages people empathetically. Very important. So see, all these things are very important this time. It is your communication can not only be improved and groomed just by learning some good words and good structures of English language. So do you listen to other people? Do you clarify your ideas? Do you encourage and motivate people empathetically? Now, what is empathetically? Empathetically means, are you putting yourself into another's shoe? That's the exact, literal meaning of the term empathy, which actually, we can understand that. Do you understand other people's situation? And if you actually understand other people's situation, then and only you will communicate in such a manner. So, encouraging people empathetically. Acknowledging, yes, giving credit to the people. If someone has done something for you, are you grateful? Grateful, being grateful is you should know that gratitude is the mantra for being successful in life. So yes, your technical, your subject knowledge is important, but being grateful, showing gratitude is very important to be successful in life. So giving credit, do you give credit to people? That is acknowledging. Then relates and repeats. Okay, if someone expect from you to repeat something, okay, relate something. Sorry, restate something. I'm sorry, restate and repeat. So do you believe in restating or you get irritated? How many times you asking me? Oh my God, this person, this fellow is so irritating. He or she has asked me the same question 100 times. So do you be? I mean, this actually the another meaning of this word, another meaning of this expression is: are you patient or not? Do you have patience or not? Or you lose your patience, temperament quite easily. So that makes a big difference in your effectiveness of being a good communicator. So I think you're clear about the features of effective verbal communicator. Now let us see some features for which make a communicator good non-verbal communicator, effective non-verbal communicator. And this is the person relaxes, opens up. Yes. So you might have seen people, who have a lot of sweating while speaking to people, who hands are shivering, shaking, and getting so nervous. No. So good non-verbal and effective non-verbal communicators are very much relaxed people. They come up with their ideas in a very relaxed manner. They are not pompous. They do not show anything in pompous and bombastic manner. So they will not be doing any pomp and show. They will be simply in a very lucid manner would be explaining themselves. Then opens up, yes, they believe in open communication rather than having closed communication. So close communication, that I am the only one, I know everything, my ideas are very intelligent ideas, I don't, care what you people have in your mind and how you express yourself. So that is opening up. Then you have leans towards the other person. It is about the physical setup. When you have the physical communication in the physical setup, you might, lean towards the other person and try to understand the next fellow, yes, what he or she is saying. So that shows that you want to listen to the person. Your body language, your behavior, your non-verbal communication explain more than, anything. Explain the things in more right and correct manner. When you go for an interview, how do you walk, how do you get in the room, how do you pull the chair, you sit on the chair and then speak to the next person, your interviewer, they would calculate and measure you very well. They would not be asking. There are certain, instances I heard from my students that they didn't ask me, ma'am, anything. They called me upon, they invited me, and I just went in. And the moment I sat on the chair, they didn't ask me anything. They said, okay, we'll get back to you. Why does this happen? Because they have noticed you. They have noticed something which is, which should not be the part of your personality of a manager. So which is not expected from the manager. This is the reason here they have sent you back. So please understand your non-verbal communication. 93% weightage has been given, and people experienced, intelligent, intellectual people assess you within 30 seconds. They don't require much time. Then it is establishes eye contact. You should have good eye contact. It shows that you are confident. It shows that you are, truthful. It shows that you are righteous in your approach. It shows that you respect the other fellow and you have the command on your what you are doing. Then it shows the appropriate facial expressions. So the person who have good eye contact, have the cool, calm, composed facial expressions is known as the effective nonverbal communicator. I hope everybody is clear about the difference between the features of verbal and nonverbal communicators. We have already covered these slides. Now there is a very good term. Let us take up quickly this term. Before this, glossophobia, I would be taking up this. Yes, so effective communication in the professional setting, I will talk about the two terms, style and substance. So style and content, and I would request all my students to focus on, see, this is a very initial time when you people have been exposed to all these things, what is verbal, non-verbal, style, substance, so you should all really take advantage of that and try to develop a style which is appealing to other people. Style your own style. Do not be a copycat. You may take up somebody's ideas. You may make people your icons, and you may realize, yes, he or she is the role model for me, the iconic person for me, and I should follow him or her. But please understand, there should be a match. When you should have your own style, but at the same time, I said you may take up ideas from other people also, so that should be matched. I mean, the person who is your icon in your real life, that should be matched with the kind of profession you are in. You are going to be managers, but somebody who is a Bollywood, Hollywood celebrity is your role model or the icon. Okay, so what you will be learning from them? Acting, ramp walk, okay, facial expression, but their expressions, their body language while having the ramp walk, while doing their acting is different. Okay, so people expect different kind of disposition and expressions, body language from you than of the celebrity who is your icon. So please understand the difference. It's not bad to have iconic personalities, so from the field of politics, movies, cinematic personalities. There is no harm in that, in doing that. But again, you should know what is the expectation from me, what people expect, what kind of the style, this position, body language should I carry while following my such and such profession. And then you see here, audience does not like great content but poor style. Great content but poor style. And see, I have written here two statements. Audience does not like style without good content. Clear? So here we are talking about the importance of good content. And in the next statement, audience does not like great content but poor style. So it means these two are the two phases of one coin, two sides of one coin. So how we may say two sides of one coin, you have at one side, you have very great style, you have developed good style of communication, but your content is so poor. Okay, what you are, the subject matter you are discussing with people. But on the other side, you have great content, but your style, your delivery is so poor, so bad that people are not appealed by that. So both the things become very important. One is the style and the other is content. You should have good balance between them. Now, let us talk about a very interesting term, glossophobia. How many of you know the meaning of this? Quickly tell me. How many students know the meaning of the term glossophobia? Any idea what is the meaning of the term phobia? What kind of the phobia is this? And how it is actually, terrifying all of us right now in the time of COVID when we are not meeting with people. Okay. Anyways, I tell you what is glossophobia. It is mentioned over here in the slide. You may read it also, that it is defined as the phobia. Glossophobia is defined as the fear of public speaking, People face this problem so often, sometimes the fear is so severe it turns to panic. Clear, everyone? So I have stopped with the term panic, and I would be telling you a story, a very small story of panic monkey. But first, please understand. First, understand here glossophobia. So the glossophobia is defined as the fear of public speaking, facing public, okay, facing people in the social gathering, speaking among them. That is known as glossophobia. But the people who have such kind of phobia, they might be enjoying their life this time because there is a new term which has arrived on the scene, and that is social distancing. So if you are distancing with the social gatherings, with the people, you are not the part of any physical setup, then there should not be any phobia. But can we really survive without this? Can we really survive without meeting people in the physical setup, having social gatherings, speaking among them? Because if you become a manager, you have to demonstrate your skills. You have to appeal and you have to lead the people who are your subordinates in the organization. You have to, it is expected from you, from a manager, to be a competent speaker. Competent speaker is one who is speaking in all situations to one person, to more than one person, okay, to the gathering, to in any kind of the social or the public setup. So it is very much needed. There is no survival of people who have glossophobia. So please understand, no matter how common is the term social distancing right now in the COVID-19 period, but one thing is very clear, that you should not have any kind of phobia of facing people and speaking among them, presenting yourself to them. Clear, everyone? So here it is. Somebody is raising hand. I'll take only 5 minutes for my narrative, and then I'll be coming for your introduction part as well as the question answer session. So glossophobia is clear, no matter how common the term social distancing right now, but we should not have any phobia of facing people, fear of public speaking. So there should not be such term because it is not good for our survival and growth in the managerial setup, in any kind of the setup presently. So if you are a manager, if you are a doctor, if you are an engineer, every time, in every situation, in every profession, there is one expectation and demand, that is you need to be a presenter. You need to be a good presenter. And how you can be a presenter, how you may speak and present yourself, portray yourself in the good light, if you are a good communicator who has no glossophobia. So the person who has glossophobia, please understand that person usually have the panic attacks. Now, what is the story of panic monkey? Please listen to me here. There are so many kind of the expressions and the abstract ideas and the abstract, you can say, the emotions in our mind. We have sad emotion, happy emotion, we have emotion of disgust, envy, jealousy, so many emotions, they lie in our mind. They speak to us one by one. There was a movie, Inside Out, in which the girl had, there is the demonstration of these five different emotions in the mind of the girl. Sometimes she becomes so sad, she doesn't have any belief in the whole world, okay, what is in the life also. Sometimes she becomes so happy, sometimes she has the feeling of disgust. Everyone, those who might have watched the movie, they might be aware about this particular, these emotions. So we have so many emotions in our mind. The expression of these emotions are very, very, predominant in our minds. But we have another emotion, another, abstract idea in our mind, and that is panic. So we all have a panic monkey in our mind. Now this panic monkey is very small in size. You cannot zero it. So zeroing this panic monkey is not possible. Okay, if you think that, yes ma'am, please tell me the idea and the tips and techniques, I can zerofy this panic monkey from my mind, I can eliminate this panic monkey. No, you cannot eliminate. You can just reduce the size of this panic monkey. Okay, you can just reduce the size of this panic monkey from your mind. So panic, first understand, there is a panic monkey in our mind. And when we have situations where we have to demonstrate and give presentation to others, this panic monkey's size increases. So when it comes to eliminate this panic monkey from your mind, it is absolutely not possible. Nobody can do. I mean, the professor type people, CEO level people, they all have this panic monkey in their mind. But gradually they learn to have control on this panic monkey. So what you can do, you can just reduce the size of this panic monkey in spite of deleting it completely from your mind. You cannot delete it, you can just reduce the size. Now you may ask me, ma'am, what are the ways I can reduce the size of this panic monkey so that I cannot, and why it is needed? First understand why it is needed to reduce the size of panic monkey. Okay, to have control, good control on panic monkey. Because if you have panic attacks, if you have panic attacks, later or sooner, some of the other time in your life, when you give presentation, your hands are, shaking, your legs are shaking, you are sweating, badly, and your throat is choking, you have no words in your throat, and you are completely, gone, you are completely, your situation is, mind is boggling up, and I don't know what is happening to me, I cannot speak a single word. If such situation happens with you, what will be there? Will there be any good result? No, you will not be able to make a good presentation, and definitely you cannot expect good results in terms of promotion, in terms of appraisals, in terms of increments. So for giving good professional performance, you should have good control on this panic monkey. Clear, everyone? And what are the ways? There are 3 ways to control this panic monkey. Number 1 is deep breath. Because please understand the science behind this. The lack of oxygen in your brain invites this panic monkey and also increases the size of panic monkey, due to which you have panic attack. So lack of oxygen. So what is our first priority? The first priority is to giving oxygen to our mind, to our brain. And how may I give oxygen to my brain? By doing the deep breath. So breath becomes very important. And now you may ask me, ma'am, every time I breathe, I inhale, exhale. No, that's not so. So taking deep breath is very important in this time of lockdown. Also, you might have come close to the ideas like pranayam, yoga. You might be performing that your houses. I have no idea, but this is very important. So what I say, the first technique to overcome with the issue of panic attack and reducing the size of panic monkey is giving oxygen to your brain. And how may you give oxygen to your brain? By doing deep breathing. Second is, just think about the happiest moment of your life. What was the happiest moment? Yes, once I went to, this hill station along with my parents, or I had a good time with my siblings and peer group, and we performed as, theater. So something. So the happiest moment of your life, and if you think about the happiest moment, it gives good oxygen, fresh prana to your brain, and this way the the size of panic monkey is reduced. Clear, everyone? And the last is, you may also control it by preparing well. So prepare well before your presentations, demonstrations. You should have good idea about the content. You should have good idea about the event. What was there? What is the content? What happened? What was your role? And what you are actually going to say. The preparation. So the 3 points, the 3 tips become very important for overcoming the issue of panic attacks and reducing panic monkey in your brain. That is deep breath. Second is thinking about the happiest moment, and the last is preparation. Now let's go to the last 2 slides, a few slides where I have put up some, keywords for you all. Gift of pandemic I have written here. Pandemic has gifted not only, please understand, this pandemic COVID-19 time period has not only given us the time of uncertainties, worrying, unsettling time where people are losing their jobs, migrating from one place to another. It has also opened up with the new opportunities, and the new terms have also been gifted to us by pandemic. One is social distancing. We all know. You may read it later on also. Physical distancing. I had discussed about this. Will not be discussing much. Digital detox. You all should know about this. You all are very much close to the digital. Digital part of your life is there. So sometimes mobile, sometimes laptop, sometimes social media, and anything. So everything is going online. So here digital detox becomes very important. It is known as a period of time during which a person refrains from using electronic devices. So you should go out of your room. You should look at the 20 look at some trees, the greenery which is outside of your house, okay, which is 20 feet away. So these are some small exercises. Blink your eyes frequently so that you can do digital detox, otherwise it may harm your eyes, your brain, in a very very bad manner. We all know about the power of radiation mobile phones are secreting and this all. So please, we have to be careful about this term. Digital detox is new term for us. Learn. Now, streaming is another term which refers to any media content, live or recorded. Any kind of the media content. This time, this webinar, this web series, okay, which is about your bridge course. So this webinar has been streamed. Okay, has been streamed. It is streaming. So streaming is, and it is used for the media content, whether it is live, going live, or recorded one. Then we have quarantine. All of you know, a state, a period, or place of isolation in which people or animals that have arrived from elsewhere or being exposed to infections or contagious disease are placed. So quarantine, no need to explain, everyone knows. Coronials. Now this you can learn. It's a term referring to the future generation of babies conceived or born during the pandemic. So these children are going to be known as the children of, I mean, Generation C. That is, Coronials generation belong to Corona generation. Yeast tenders, we may see this term. This is a group of people who went out and stocked up on all baking ingredients before lockdown. You might be aware about the situation. What happened when lockdown began in the month of March? People were rushing outside. They went to different stores, Reliance and so many other stores, and they stuffed their houses with all kind of the ingredients, as if nothing is going to be available in the market. They are known as yeast tenders. Then we have coffin dozier. What is coffin dozier? Anyone who bakes away in terror when someone sneezes or clears their throat. Does it happen or not? It is actually happening. Somebody is coughing near us in the public area or even in our family. What we do? Oh my God, don't cough, don't sneeze. Why? There may be virus. So we all are terrified of the virus. Then there is a term corona coaster. It describes the roller coaster mood swings you have been dealing with. So the roller coaster, everyone knows. I mean, most of you know about this. So the roller coaster gives you the state of mood swings, and the corona time has also given us the, it has made us more panic. It has made us more, the anxiety disorder is there. So corona coaster is that. Krueger cut is the cut, describe a self-administered haircut. During lockdown, you might have gone for this. There was no facility available for going outside and having haircut. So this is more with this term. Nemesis scrolling, checking your Facebook and Twitter for the latest death toll. Yes, when once we go on Twitter and so many, other kind of the social medias, then there are, when as we scroll, we find that this many cases were there of corona today in this state, and the Delhi is, alarming situation is there. So this is known as your, I'll again go back, Nemesis scrolling. Okay. So the last slide has some additional references for you people, wherein I have put up some references for the TED Talk references, some, the blog references are given to you, some Google references, Google article references have been given to you, through which you may understand more about the communication studies, role of communication at work, body language, which is, very essential for business, and so many other ideas. So this is from my side. Now I may ask you questions, and meantime you think about the questions. Let us begin, because the students might have some questions in mind. They will be invited. They may drop their questions in the chat box. They may also ask me by raising hand. But before this, see, I would be inviting you all, as we are, that there is paucity of time. So only 10 minutes are left for this session, and I want you all to introduce yourself. And I know in the time period of 10 minutes it is not going to be possible. So let us do one thing, that those who are volunteers do first come first serve. So those who are going to be there, give their volunteer participation for introducing themselves, right? They would be invited first. So you are invited for giving your introduction, students. And at the same time, if you have any question, you may ask me. Or you may drop the question in chat box. Yes, I can see Sunny, Ayush, and Sejal. So I'll be accepting them one by one. It's Sunny. Hello, Sunny. Can you listen to me? Can you introduce yourself? I think Sunny is not. Yes, Ayush is there. I have accepted you as a presenter so that you can introduce yourself. I think the system is taking some time. Okay, I can see Sunny has joined the room. Beta, all those names I had just taken up. I have invited you as for your introduction. Yes, I think Sunny is there. Sunny, will you please give your introduction?
My name is Kanish Kumar,
Yes.
and I belong to Nazargarh, that southwest.
Yes.
And today I am here to uh, like to clear my hobbies. Like I am very uh,
Sunny, you can introduce yourself. You can also brief or tell us about your life experience. You may also talk about the communication discussion which we just had in the class or the session, right? So
yes,
it is up to you what you discuss. Go ahead, Beta.
okay, ma'am. Ma'am, here we are uh, learning about communication for managers. Then here I some points like what is communication, there are three levels, and which understanding and emotional level, physical level. These types of levels are very important for communication. And uh, and also there are LSRW, like learning, speaking, reading, and writing. Right.
Yes.
So, and ma'am, I want to know if this seven C's not clarified that seven C's like
No worry, Sunny, no worry. In the classes, I mean, this is a separate chapter. It is the part of our syllabus, and I'll go in more detail there. And we will also understand this. Seven C's are very important for communication.
some words I can't understand
Yes,
correctly. Like
yes. You note down all your doubts, and keep it for the class sessions. Okay, there I'll clarify everything to you.
okay,
Clear? Okay. Thank you, Sunny. Next, students, I am, accepting, you are raising your hands. I am accepting you as a, sorry, a communicator
yes,
so that you can introduce. Please join soon and quickly introduce yourself. Palak is there. Palak, you've joined. Okay, I'm accepting the invitation of other students. You are raising hands and I'm accepting. Please join and introduce yourself. Palak is there. One more student has been accepted by me. Kunal. Okay. Yes, I can see Palak has joined. I think, due to technology, it is taking some time. No issue. Palak, go ahead, beta. Yes, Kamakshi has also joined. No issue. One by one, go ahead. First, it's for Palak. Palak, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am.
Introduce, beta.
Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Palak Tandon, and I'm from Rohini, Delhi, and I have passed out from Mother Divine Public School. And one of my hobbies are painting, and I am also interested into photography. And today it was a lot of fun by learning. It was a very great session, and I learned about everything about the communication, the level of communication, and what is communication with the viewpoint of the managers.
Yes, thank you, Palak. Pleasure for me. If our students learn and they do better in life, there is no achievement like that, right?
Yes.
So, anything else you want to say?
No, ma'am, it was a great session learning with you.
Thank you, Beta. Thank you so much. Now, I think Kamakshi has also joined. Kamakshi, introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, ma'am. This is Kamakshi Srivastav. I am from Bhopal, and a very interesting fact about me is that I was a PCB student, and now I am a BBA student pursuing a very totally different career, and which I'm also very nervous about.
No, you don't sound nervous. Not at all. You sound very, very good, effective communicator. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, ma'am. But from inside, my heart is dhak 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 dhak.
No issue. We discussed about the story of panic monkey.
Yes,
Did we?
exactly,
So
exactly.
now you have learned how to reduce the size of panic monkey inside your brain.
Yes,
So,
that is what I am trying to do.
work upon that, right? And I'm sure that by the end of the semester and a few years, you will overcome with this issue.
Yes, surely, ma'am.
Okay, Bita.
And also, ma'am, what is your name?
My name is Dr. Jyoti Tripathi.
Okay, okay.
Yes, my name is Dr. Jyoti Tripathi. I am PhD in English Literature. Okay, and working as an associate professor in Gita Rattan International Business School since last 5 years. So that's it.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Today it was very nice.
Thank you, Gita. Thank you. I think Kunal has joined us. Let's go to Kunal. Kunal.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, Gita. Kunal, introduce yourself.
Ma'am, my name is Kunal. I am from Delhi. I really wanted to join this course because I really found that this is my interest, and I really enjoyed this today's webinar, and you were very good. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Kunal. Thank you. Yes, the next time accepting Devani, Brinda, Jayesh.
My one question is there, ma'am.
Yes, Kunal wants to ask. Yes, Kunal.
Ma'am, my question is why there is a communication gap between people? Means when somebody is asking something and telling something, and other people is not understanding that. Why this is so?
Yes, very good question, Kunal. First of all, I would congratulate you for asking very intellectual question. And this question is related to communication breakdown. Most of the time, there is communication breakdown. It is possible, it may be the factor is sender, receiver, message, medium, anything. If the sender is not explaining things well, that can be the breakdown. There is the possibility of breakdown, that means communication failure. If the receiver is not listening well and receiving and giving feedback properly, the communication gap is possible. If the technology is making some issues, again, the problem is possible. So various factors are there which are responsible for the communication breakdown, communication gap. We would learn more about this in classes.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, Kunal. Thank you. I think some other students have joined. Please introduce yourself one by one. Who has joined? Yes. Beta, please name out yourself and introduce. I have seen somebody has joined. I didn't see the name properly.
A really good afternoon, ma'am. Vrinda this side.
Yes, Brenda, please go ahead.
Ma'am, it was a really nice session with you. It was really interesting. You didn't let a single minute getting wasted.
Thank you.
Also, I passed out from Ryan International School, and I'm really looking forward to have a great time at the Geeta Rattan International Business School.
Very good, Brenda. Thank you so much for
Thank you, ma'am.
giving your contribution. I think other students are also lined up. Let's go to them. Yes,
Yes,
Brenda?
ma'am. Yes, sure, ma'am.
Okay. Yes. So other students, those who are in queue, please one by one, without wasting time, continue introducing yourself. Who is going to be the next one? Can I expect some the students? Okay. Muskan, Simran, Sejal, Ashish, they have also raised their hands. If you are able to join, beta, please introduce. Don't take much time. There are many students raising their hands, and yes, Simran has joined. Simran, go ahead. Yes, Simran, you can listen to me.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, this is Simran.
Yes.
It was very nice session, and I am passed out from Kendriya Vidyalaya, and so here I am pursuing BBA.
Oh, good, good. Going to have, expect a great time with you all, Simran and other
Thank,
students. Yes.
thank you,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay. Who is the next one who has joined our session as a presenter? Do we have some students in queue? Yes. Can we expect some more introductions? Okay, fine. Thank you. Thank you all the students who have participated, contributed. I can understand, due to short time span, we could not introduce and we could not exchange the ideas, our perspectives completely and in detailed manner. But no issue, there would be classes, and these in class sessions, you would be given full liberty, full time to introduce yourself, to put up your queries, to come forward the ideas and perspectives of your mind about your subjects and the life ahead. So, till that time, I think, thank you so much, everyone, for participating, contributing, and being the good listeners. And good listeners are good communicators. Fine. I saw somebody has joined. Is there someone? No. Fine. Then thank you all. Thank you, everyone.